How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? This is the one and only Apocalyptic Aftermath, and you are listening to the Apocalyptic Aftermath channel. I hope you guys doing good. I hope you guys are doing well. So, shit, I don't know, man. Anyways, man, there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of things going on, bro, and uh I can't say I'm mad about it though. I mean, I don't like what's happening, but I can't say that I'm mad about it, bro. Like, because like I said, man, this is gonna be a follow up to first things first video, um, because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say and what I'm not supposed to say, because of the complicated situation that I'm in. So, but I will say this, man. If you don't want to be Illuminati, you don't have to. All right. And I guess that's a no-brainer. I think that's a no-brainer. I think that's like a misnomer, actually. I don't think everybody's Illuminati and shit, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that's not even gonna join or not even thinking about joining. So, you know, remain on that line, and stay on that road, because that's the good road to choose. Um, and the Illuminati is going away. The Illuminati is going away soon. Like I told you, Spirit showed me something the other day. He showed me dominoes. Man, I asked Spirit a question, and I saw a truck pass by and it said dominoes on it. We all know what dominoes do. They fall, right? They fall on top of each other. So, one after the other. So, right now, think about the future. Think about what you want to see in the near future. Think about what you want to see in the near future. That's what you should be concentrating on. Do not concentrate on what other people want you to see for the future. Concentrate on what you want to see in the future. Alright? Because this Illuminati shit's about to go, in a minute. It's about to disappear in a minute. So, Illuminati, like right now, this is the best time to run for the hills. And there's a lot of celebrities running for the hills. There's a lot of business people running for the hills, and they got it right, because the shit is going down. So us people, us real people, us the sprites living inside of the matrix, us components living inside of matrix, us who are the processors that live within the matrix. We need to process and reinvent, reimagine a brand new life. And what I'm saying is not, I'm not talking about like flying cars and shit like that, bro. What I'm talking about is yourself, your personal well-being, your finances, your personal well-being, who you want to spend the rest of your life with, whether it's a man or a woman, whatever. I guess, if that's the correct thing to say. Because like I said, man, like there's gay people that listen to my channel, and sometimes I don't think I indulge in gay bashing, but I do use the word a lot, and but to me it's not a thing about like, oh, you're gay, you're an evil person. It's just, unfortunately, whatever they're doing over there, that involves a lot of gay people, and and they do a lot of gay stuff. So it's very unfortunate, you know. But at the end of the day, whatever you choose to do, if you're not hurting nobody, whatever you choose to do is your business, Um, so this is not, when I use those words, when I do those things, I don't mean it necessarily towards a specific person or anything of that matter. I'm just saying, so it is what it is. So the first thing first video, I was stating that we need to drop mind and drop the things that we used to think about and everything. It's like, and so I just had a message, and the person gave me a follow-up message to the message I left them, and brung up something else that was interesting in it, man. And the person was like, well, because there is a theory out there that says that because of the theory, the simulation theory, people believe that absolutely everything isn't real, even themselves, which is not completely inaccurate, right? It is not completely inaccurate, right? You are a spirit, you're a soul, right? Before becoming physical, you were a spirit, right? Before becoming physical, you were a soul. Because before becoming physical, you were consciousness, right? And then you went through portals. You went through a series of portals that brung you to this world, right? And the last portal was a flesh portal, was the womb, right? You came inside of pause. That's a bit much. That's a very colorful way of seeing it, but you came inside of your mother. You were brought forth inside of your progenitor, and then exited out the last portal. These are the last portal. The mind of the physical body is one portal, and the last portal is the womb, right? But before the mind, you went through a series of other portals that brought you to this earth, right? And you were probably stationary somewhere or something. There's a lot of stars waiting to be born, right? There's a lot of stars waiting to be born. There's a lot of stars that are not born yet. There's a lot of stars that are on standby. There's a lot of stars that are coming, right? That will be here soon. There's a lot of stars that are already here, and there's more of them that's gonna come, right? So it's not. That's why we feel like the physical realm is a simulation, because at the end of the day, it's not that it's a simulation, it's that there's two things going on at the same time. I am a firm believer that everything that is here today shall ever be, right? I subscribe to the belief that regardless of the existence of the Illuminati, we would still be living the life that we're living in today, right? And I'm also ready to say that without the Illuminati's interference, that the process of awakening would have been slower, right? It would have been slower if the Illuminati wasn't interfering in people's lives. Then that awakening, that illumination, that awakening that we are all going through, that we are currently going through, would have been a lot slower. And that's okay. If it would have been slower, it would have been fine, right? Because now we have to learn at a accelerated rate, right? Which is not necessarily a good thing, and it causes a lot of chaos, right? So back to the simulation theory, people believe that their body aren't real, right? And in some way, shape, or form, you could say that that can be true. Even scientifically speaking, we are all light. We are all made of light. Everything that you see is light, right? We actually don't see anything, right? What we're processing is information, right? That's why we have eyes, ears, nose, and the mouth. It's information that's coming in. Without these things, we would not have any we wouldn't be conscious of other consciousnesses, right? We wouldn't be aware of the existence of other bodies, right? So reality is a containment field like gravity. That's why I subscribe. A lot of spiritual people don't subscribe to the idea of gravity, but I do, because gravity is also a magnetic field, right? It's not just a physics process that makes an apple fall from the tree. It's also a magnetic field. It's energy. Gravity is also energy, right? Because the thing is, people see gravity in their minds. They see gravity as something as being a minus, right? They always see it as minus, minus, minus. Gravity means minus. Gravity means down. Gravity means up and down. Gravity does not just mean down. Gravity does not just mean, oh, because of gravity I can't fly, right? That's not what it means, right? It is one of the occurrence of why you can't fly, but it's not the absolute reason why you can't fly, right? Because like I said, gravity is magnetic force, is a magnetic field. It's a field of energy, right? So the reason why we can see each other is because of gravity, right? This is the reason why we can see each other, because our atoms have a magnetic pull towards each other. A body, a mind, a spirit, a mind, specifically a mind, has the capability of harnessing and containing a vast amount of atoms, which comprises our body. But the universe, everything around us, is made of the same thing as atom. Atom is energy. Energy is light, right? Or darkness. It depends on who you ask, right? But if you look in the textbooks are going to tell you that we're all made of light. If you look like a scientific book and so on, you're gonna see that we're made of life. And if you go deeper than light, if you go further than light, then you end up in dark matter, right? Which is a subject that we kind of like forgot about for a couple of years now. Nobody's talking about dark matter, even though it exists, even though it's a thing, and a lot of people are aware of the black goo. Right, people talk about the black goo, right? The black goo, which is also the energy that is hiding behind the light, right? And like I said before, power, power has color, right? Power has color. So colors are streams of thoughts. Colors are stream of light and stream of thought and stream of ideas. So if you compile all those streams of ideas and all those streams of light, what you're gonna have is not one giant life. You're gonna have a giant blob, a giant black blob, right? Because all those colors are all simultaneously shining at the same time. And if you get enough colors to shine at the same time, it's gonna have a dark hue, right? Because it's gonna be it's gonna be like a merge of chaotic colors, color patterns and stuff. And then you look from further away, the further away you look at it is gonna be black. So energy is black, right? So power is black, right? So the power is darkness. So anyways, enough with the textbook stuff. So this person told me, like, if this person asked me, well, I guess my senses aren't real and stuff like that. It's not that your senses aren't real. It's good to tell yourself that your senses aren't real for this particular moment if you're embarking in a journey towards apotheosis, into becoming your own god or your own element, or so on and so on, or just self-confidence and self-belief, dependently on who we're talking about or who we're talking to here, right? So, but at the end of the day, let's say I'm gonna speak as a more advanced person here for 2 seconds, because I really want I want my viewers, I want people that are listening to this video to be aware of what I'm saying, or aware of the five senses or the six senses. Some people say five, some people say six, because intuition is kind of considered as another sense. Um, but if we're talking about this sense, like me, because at the end of the day, like I said, all these things are information, right? So hearing is information. Obviously, you hear words, you can listen to things, so it's actually getting in information, but it's also your ear is also information, right? So your mouth is information, your nose is information, your eyes are information, touching is information too, right? And your intuition, of course, right? So you can receive and send information, right? It's like smell, right? You can send a smell or you can receive a smell, right? You can talk to somebody or be spoken to. You can listen to someone or someone can listen to you. You can, like your intuition it could be instinctual or conscious, right? Or subconscious, right? So all these things are intertwined and interconnected and intermingled. So me personally, I don't use my nose to smell, right? Right? Like I do use my nose to smell, but sometimes my nose brings me to different opportunities. Like some people would consider, like sometimes a person goes somewhere and gets a thing, and this person is like, oh, my intuition. But what if it wasn't your intuition? What if it was your nose? What if you smelled it, right? Like, because who's to say what you can and cannot smell? Dogs have a heightened sense of smell, which is one of the reasons why I develop a magical nose, like Genie the witch, right? I developed a magical nose because when I was a kid, the notion of an animal having a capability that is superhuman, I always found that particular, right, and intriguing, right? Because you know because he's a dog. He lives on the same planet that I live on. So technically, if you think about it for 2 seconds, there's no reason this dog can smell better than I do. So either this dog is not a dog. Either this dog is not a dog, or I can do it too, and I'm just not aware of it, right? So like you can train your nose to smell things, but what if you could smell timelines, right? Like what if you could smell timelines? What if you could smell dimensions, right? What if you can smell not just a person, but a person's character, right? Or things along those lines, right? Like what if you could smell magic? I mean, like most witches can smell magic. This I am aware of. And you practitioners out there probably know what I'm talking about. You guys can probably smell magic, right? So but me, I chalk regular day happenings to my nose too. Not all the time, but sometimes I do, right? Cause I concentrated my mind. Sat there and concentrated, and I was focused on the dog can smell more than a human, right? So I know that I'm smarter than a dog, right? So now I have to ask myself, if the dog can do this, then why can I do? And then you start to develop your sense of smell, right? You start to be aware of your nose. You start to be aware of smells, right? Until you reach a point where you're not smelling smells, you're smelling things that have no smell, right? But they do have a smell. Everything has a smell. Everything smells. Everything is smelly. Everything is smelly, bro. Like everything is smelly. It smells. Like if you take a plastic, if you take a plastic bottle, you put it next to your nose, it smells. It smells like plastic, right? But it's not. It's not a natural thing. Plastic is not natural. Plastic is not a plant. It's plastic. It's fake, but you can still smell it, right? Even though it's not real, right? Plastic isn't real, technically speaking, right? Plastic is not technically real. So, but it still has a smell. You know, how can something that's not real, how can plastic have a smell? It's not supposed to have a smell, but yet it smells. And what is it that's smelling? Well, it's the chemical. What are chemicals? It's a formula. Okay, well, what's a formula? It's a mixture of elements. Okay, so what are elements? The elements are, nature's compounding ingredients, right? Facts, 100%. And what are those? What are nature's compounding ingredients? Well, they come from atoms and photons and protons and neutrons and nucleoids and all that stuff, and or organic, bioorganic, and all that stuff, right? So all these things, all this research to arrive to a point where we get what's called plastic. But at the end of the day, are you telling me an atom smells like something? Yes, of course, atoms smell. We don't know what an atom smells like because it's so small. It's so minuscule, right? It's minuscule. So we have no idea what it smells like, but it probably gives off a smell, and maybe it doesn't give off a smell. And the only way that you could smell an atom is by having a magical nose, right? Or having a practiced, a trained nose in order to smell atoms. Just like you can train a dog to smell specific smells, right? You can train yourself to smell a specific thing, right? So, at the end of the day, so the nose is also connected to the sacral chakra, right? Which is the chakra point that is in your belly, right? So the sacral chakra is connected to the nose, right? And because of that, because your stomach is connected to your nose, right? So your appetite, so your nose is led by your appetite, right? And this is how I use my nose, right? I have an appetite. I am hungry for something. I'm not specifically talking about food. I am hungry for life. I am hungry for knowledge. I am hungry for things. So my nose is going to find these things. It's not just my mind. It's my nose too. We're not aware that we're using our nose to do this, but we are, because when something stinks, we always say that shit. We're in a weird situation, and we feel like something ain't right. We're like, something stinks, something's fishy, it's smelly, something ain't right, right? Well, when we say something smelly is because something's weird is going on. So we are kind of aware of these, right? Somebody out there is aware of what I'm saying, because the saying existed before I said it right here. So somebody else is aware of this, right? Somebody knows that their nose know, right? So some dope shit. Whoa, mind blown. You know, but I love using the smell, you know, because it's a it's almost a carnal thing. It's almost a carnal thing. It's not. I don't consider smelling things that respectful, to be quite honest. But it works, and it brings you to where you want to go. You know, um, because you can smell anything. Like you can smell a woman, you can smell a man. You know, from way across the room. From way across the room, you can smell a man, you can smell a woman, right? Like, you know, you can smell if the person is inviting or not, you know. Not all the time, but sometimes you cue in. Sometimes all of your senses align. And when all of your senses align, you're doing everything at the same time. You're smelling, you're hearing, you're seeing, and you're almost touching and you're almost speaking, you know, in the sense of when the person's across the room and you're attracted to this person, you're almost touching the person. You know, you kind of are. You're kind of touching the person. The person is touching you. You know, you can feel the thing, whatever the thing is, before you even enter that state. You know, before you even engage in a conversation with that person. Some people call it charm, or some people call it seduction, right? But what seduction truly is, what charm truly is when you see someone that you are attracted to, that you consider your type, and your all of your senses, you go into this zone just like an athlete. You know, when the athletes say when we run, we're going into this zone, and it's like, you know, there's nothing there, and it's the same thing, right? When you see somebody that you're attracted to, that you're really attracted to, and that you intend on, you know, giving a couple children to, no pun intended, no offense meant, you kind of have this moment when you see that person. You gotta have this point. Well, you don't have to give that person children, but you know what I mean. I'm trying not to be crude here. So, you know, you when you see that person, you both lock eyes, and depending on, because some people will lock eyes with someone and then they're gonna look down, right? And that's normal. And that happens too. Like I said, this happens sometime. And for it to happen every time, you have to be highly trained. You know, a lot more than I am. I ain't gonna lie. You have to be a lot more trained than I am in order to do that. Which I'm pretty sure you could if you wanted to. I'm pretty sure you could. You know, it could be like a 90% hit miss rate. Like you would have like a 90% hit, you know, versus miss, you know, rate if you were more in tune with your senses, right? But mind you, so like I'm saying, like, it's not that the senses are fake, it's the use for it that might be fake, because at the end of the day, nobody's telling us these things. And I'm not blaming the government for not telling us that we can use our nose to sniff out you know, business opportunities or anything along those lines, right? But at the end of the day, it is not something that we were learned. It's not something that you're gonna learn in school. Teachers are not going to sit your child down and tell them you can use your nose for this, but you can also use your nose for that. Like, that's not what they're paid to do. They're paid to give a small amount of information so that they can do the most amount of, you know, business or work or, you know, labor of whatever sort it is, right? So, but at the end of the day, in school, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, school has always been like, I mean, you can blame the government for not giving us, you know, the truth about history and life and so on and so on, but schools kind of, they kind of don't want to take that responsibility on them. It's kind of like your responsibility. Like if in school they're gonna teach your kid they're gonna learn your kids how to use their nose. But let's say you know about all these things, but you go to work all the time and you don't have time to teach your kid that kind of stuff. Right? Let's say, hypothetically speaking, right? So, hypothetically speaking, you don't have time to teach your kid all that stuff. And then you think in your head, so, it's your first child, and you bring your child to the school, and then you think they're going to teach them the things that you know about your nose. And, you expect it, right? But then if you ask the school is going to tell you, if your kid comes back, is like, I use my nose to smell, bananas, whatever. So, if you, and then you call the school and then you ask, well, why my son's only smelling bananas? Like, and then the school's going to be like, well, it's not really our job to explain things like that. Like, we just going to give your kid the bare bone information that they need to learn in order to, excel in their homework and activities and graduate and all that's fancy, but we're not gonna get into in-depth details about specific things. So when we're talking about in-depth details, it's kind of your responsibility to give that knowledge to your kid, right? Or at least put your kid in the right path so that he can learn those things. But he's not going to learn that in school. And is it the school's fault? Well, I mean, I guess it depends on who you ask. I mean, because at the end of the day, humans are a fast industry, right? We are a rapid resource and a rapid industry, right? So you can't just... It would take more time in order to explain these things to your kids, right? So that's why school kind of wash their hands with anything that's close to like philosophy or spirituality or even quantum physics, because it's a bit much. It would take more time. You would need more time in class. You would need more semesters, you would need more classes, and then you need more teachers, and then you need more specialized teachers. So it would be very expensive and financially consuming. It would be financially consuming and time consuming to actually do something like that. So is the government wrong for doing it the way that they're doing it? Yes, and a little bit no. Like, because at the end of the day, like, it would take forever to have one person in the workforce. It would take like decades. So, well, not decades, but it would take a long time. It would take longer to have people in the workforce. So, it wouldn't be that big of a difference. It wouldn't. It's just maybe you'd have an extra year in school, and then you'd have like 2 or 3 extra classes and shit like that, and that's pretty much it, right? Like, so, but at the same time, I mean, there's a valid point to make where you can learn these things by yourself too. I mean, they're not obvious things, but at least if somebody around you know about these things, and then they can show you, and then whatnot, and then so on and so on, it would be less bad. But that's also the statement I'm trying to make here, that we don't live in a society like that. So like I said, it's like we believe that we live in a simulation theory, which is absolutely accurate, and we believe that our senses aren't actually real, and that is actually accurate. But once you step to follow up on my first things first video, like I said before, if you end up on the other side of all that illusion, if you step in the other side of that simulation, you're gonna realize, okay, my nose, it might not be real, but it is real. You're gonna realize that your nose is real, but on a different form. You're gonna understand that your nose is consciousness, right? I talk about my nose because I use that ability a lot. That's why. So you're gonna realize that your nose or your eyesight or your ears or your mouth. I do use my mouth a lot, to create, because it's easier. But you're gonna realize at first you're like, oh, my mouth is not real. I'm not a real person, which is absolutely correct. Absolutely, because your spirit, your consciousness, you're not here. You're here, but you're not here, right? So, and at the same time, but once you go through taking the red pill and letting me tell you, once you let Morpheus tell you everything and explain to you how everything works and blah blah blah, and then it's time to log back into the matrix because you still have a couple things to do here and there, or not, because that's the thing about Luciferianism. That's the thing about Luciferianism. Luciferianism does not encourage you to go back to the matrix. Luciferianism does not encourage you to go back to the matrix. The Luciferianism, it will remove you from the matrix completely, and then you're gonna disappear forever. You know what I mean? You're not even there no more. So it's really a case by case scenario. Some people choose to go back like me, but you don't have to go back. And the only reason why I want to go back is because there's a lot of things that I didn't try. I'm a little bit like Cypher. I want some steak. I want some fucking steak, bro. So because the Cypher is right, bro. Like, Cypher is an important part of the movie, man. The dude that betrayed everybody and shit. Cypher is fucking important, bro. Like, he's not wrong, man. And you have to realize that Cypher is not wrong, bro. You can condemn him for betraying everybody. You can hate him, bro. But at the end of the fucking day, he's not fucking wrong. He's not wrong, bro. It's fucked up to say, bro, but he's not fucking wrong, bro. Cause like, come on, man. If okay, I'm Morpheus, and I tell you the first thing I tell you, bro. I'm not even like, at least I'm less bad than Morpheus because I'm telling you can be Superman or whatever, or Iron Man or Wonder Woman or whatever, right? But let's say I wasn't saying that, bro, and let's say I was Morpheus, and I'm like, bro, like, join, get out the Matrix, blah blah blah, and then I tell you, but the thing is, but if you get out the Matrix, you're gonna fucking live miserably. Then you're gonna eat goop. You're gonna eat goggly goop, bruh, and you're gonna live miserably and shit, man. Like, you're gonna tell me, no, give me a blue pill, get the heck out of here with that nonsense. Why would I want to live like that? Right? Like, so. That's why Cypher's fucking right. He's fucking right, bro. At the end of the day, he's fucking right. So anyways, and that's a person, Cypher is a person that uses his senses. His senses are very important to him. And that's one of the reasons why he decided to go back into the Matrix, right? Because his senses, he needs to feel. And you can't condemn a person for wanting to feel. Right? Because when you're outside the Matrix, you don't feel shit. When you're in Zion, you don't feel nothing. There's nothing to feel, bro. There's no food. There's people. There's a lot of people. There's some music sometimes. But it's desolate. It's a desolate wasteland. Everything is fucked up. Everything's destroyed. There's no nothing. So you don't want. Zion is a train station. Right? The Zion is a train station. Zion is a place where you go and take a break. Right? You take a break to get your mind right, to get your shit together. And then you log back into the Matrix, because that's where everything is at. That's where the party's at. Right? The party's not really in Zion. The party's in Matrix, man. And that's one thing that the Matrix cannot explain to you and shall not explain to you, and that you have to figure out by yourself. You have to understand that as bad and as corrupted as the system is, yes, there are agents walking around. I'm talking about real life, not the movie. Yes, there are agents walking around. Yes, there are corrupted officials. Yes, there's a bunch of, there's like an allegiance of people working together in the front scene and the back scene to make stuff happen to control your mind, control society, control people. I'm hearing the word obedience come up a lot of the time. As of late, I'm hearing a lot of people there. They want to become obedient. They want to be in the matrix. Like, they're not trying to get out of the matrix. They don't want to get out of the matrix, bruh. And those are the people that will remain without power, right? And we're going to have to wake these people up, but we're not going to wake them up personally. They're going to see us fly in the sky. They're going to see us dodge bullets. And then they're going to be like, holy fucking shit. You know, like, what the fuck was that? You know, like, so, and that's going to wake them up. And they're gonna grow in power eventually, you know, by themselves. You won't even have to do anything, bro. It's just, you're gonna be living your life as as one should. And people will look at you living your life and they're going to be like, oh shit, I didn't know you could be like that. I didn't know you could do that. You know what? I want to do that too. And then they're going to go off on their personal adventure. Maybe they might meet Morpheus. Maybe they might meet me. Maybe they might take a blue pill, take a red pill. Maybe they might not take a blue pill. But they're going to go on their own adventure and they're going to figure it out, right? So I'm kind of happy that this person brung up that question, because it's an interesting question. It's a thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, that I do talk about a little bit here and there, but not a lot. You know, so it was very, I thank you for asking me that question. I wanted to talk about that. I just didn't know how to segue in there. You know, so, so yeah, the senses the current census that you have right now, pre red pill, might not be real, but the census that you will develop post red pill, those are gonna be amazing. They're not just gonna be real, they're gonna be amazing, bro. Like, it's gonna be like, I thought my nose was only good to smell things. I didn't know my nose was a form of communication. Right? Because it is. The nose is a form of communication. Some people don't like perfume because there's a lot of chemicals in it and there's a lot of, whatnots in it, right? And so they don't wear perfume. But, you can wear natural perfume too. There are natural perfumes. You can wear body oils that smell good. You can wear, you can make your own perfume, right? And perfume is good. You don't have to necessarily wear perfume, but perfume is a very good tool because it's a charming effect, right? Like, some people are meant to wear perfume, some people are not meant to wear perfume. I'm a person that's meant to wear perfume. When I wear the right perfume, I'm irresistible, right? And I'm irresistible. If I wear the right perfume on my body, I'm irresistible, man. Like, so women always tell me, like, dependently on what kind of, because sometimes I just wear body spray. It's not even perfume. Like depending on the type of body spray, the type of perfume, women always tell me, and I've heard it's a good thing when you hear that. I used to take that for granted, I ain't gonna lie, but I heard it's a big compliment when a woman says that she likes how you smell, right? It's actually a good compliment. I don't think it's rare, but it's a big, for, I don't know why, I don't remember why, I just, I'd be watching, The View and shit, I'll be really, I'm like watching The View and I'm listening to women on the panel speak, or other women, and it's like, it's a big deal. If a woman tells you that she likes how you smell, it's a big deal, right? So I didn't know that, I used to hear it from time to time, here and there, but I didn't think it was a big deal. I didn't think much of it, So smell is actually something you can use to enhance your life experience, right? Like, you're charming, right? Somebody that smells good is charming, right? You're already off to a good point, right? Like if you smell good, it doesn't matter where you go, you're off on the right foot. Right? Like you're on the right foot. Like if you smell good, bro, it don't matter if the night ends bad and shit. One thing's for sure is that you probably started that night on the right foot, bro. Because people are not gonna be mad at you when you smell good, right? Maybe a hater is gonna be like jealous and shit because you smell good and shit like that. But the general masses, they would rather be next to somebody that smell good than somebody that don't smell good. You know what I mean? Like so. Um, smell is a tremendous thing. It's a tremendous information, and it's you can almost manipulate people with smells, man. Like if you know what you're doing, you can almost manipulate a person with a smell, bro. Like you can charm the pants off of a person, bro. No pun intended, no offense, man. But that's just facts. That's just facts. The smell is one of the first things that comes into mind. You see a person first, and then you smell him second, and then you listen to him, right? And then you talk, right? So smell is actually the second thing that you notice in the person, right? Sometimes the first, because sometimes you can not see a person and still smell them, right? And then that the person's smell makes you like, oh shit, who smells like that? Like who? Yada yada yada, blah blah blah. His spirit loves smells. We all know that. Everybody that work with spirit knows that they love smells. All spirit have a smell they like and a smell they don't like. They have a smell that activates them. There's a smell that will banish them. There's a smell that will banish them away. There's a smell that they absolutely can't resist, and they will come every time they smell it because they want to see who's giving off this beautiful smell. And then there's smells that they can't withstand, like somebody send an evil spirit after you, and this smell is like ugh, like I can't stand this smell, man. And then he has to leave because he doesn't like that smell, man. He can't stand it. So smell, I do be thinking spirit be playing games with us and giving us clues about life without really giving us clues about life, because a god or a spirit is not that easy to kill, to be quite honest. So, the smell thing, I feel like they're trying to tell us something, Um, so like I said, smelling it's a form of communication, man. Smelling is a form of communication. You're processing data, and it's not just a form of communication. That's not even what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that your nose can process data just like your brain does, because your nose is connected to your brain. Actually, your nose is not connected to your heart. It's not gonna. Your nose is kind of connected to your mouth too. Your nose is connected to your mouth, your windpipe, but your windpipe and all that shit, that's connected to your brain, right? So, and when something is connected to the brain, that means there's a lot of information being processed at that time. It's not easy. Like for us, it's nothing to smell. We just and we smell something, right? But the brain is actually doing a tremendous amount of calculations that we take for granted. And I keep saying that, and I don't mean anything by it, but it is true. We are taking it for granted, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're just born this way, man. We have a nose and we can smell stuff. It is what it is. Yeah, and that's the end of the story. So but we are actually capable. The nose is capable of processing information too. You can process information through your nose, man. You can process a situation through your nose, man. And sometimes something does stink, but it doesn't mean shit. So it's really. So when your intuition, when you intuitively smelling something bad happening, even though it smells good around, or vice versa, or you smell something good happening, even though it smells bad, that's your brain that's processing the information, your intuitive sense of smell, and some people call that flair. We call that a flare. You can flare things up. You can flare. You have a flare. So, anyways, and the mouth and and speaking, which is another sense, right? Another one of your sense. The sound, which is speaking, is not the sense, is sound that is coming out of your throat. That is the sense. Vibrations, right? And we all know vibrations, what they are, right? So can you smell vibrations? Probably. Can you send a vibration? Of course you can send a vibration. Every time you speak, you're sending a vibration. Every time you speak, it's a vibration. Every word you're saying is a vibration. Every sound you make is a vibration, right? So, and it echoes and it ripples through life, right? It's like you cast a stone in water and you can see the ripples just undulating across the stream, right? So this is what your voice is doing. This is why crystalline energy, this is why I tell you guys to practice crystalline energy, to practice throat chakra energy, because it's very powerful. Your throat chakra is extremely powerful. It's more powerful than you give it credit for, man. There's a lot of magic involved. It's thanks to your brain, of course, because you need to know what to say. You need to be able to speak. So it's thanks to your brain, of course, but you can use your brain without using your throat, though. That's the difference. That's the one thing. You can use your mind all the time and never speak, right? But I'm telling you, if you use your mind to speak, then you'll be easily a creator, easily a creator. And people that are, well, you're probably thinking, what about people that are that have speech impediments? What about people that it doesn't matter? In those people's cases, they're gonna use their heart chakra. And I don't mean to say that, I'm sorry to use that term, because I feel like it might make you sound like you're a punk or something, you're a doofus or something. But actually, no, it has nothing. It's unrelated. I'm not saying that they're good at two shoes or anything like that. It's just, at the end of the day, if you have a speech impediment, you are inadvertently going to use your heart chakra. And the reason why that is because your speech has a complication in it. But so now, you will inadvertently use your heart chakra, because now you want people to understand what you're saying, right? So you're gonna put more emotions behind a person that doesn't have a speech impediment than somebody that has a speech impediment. Like, I don't use a lot of emotions when I create things. When I use my throat chakra, there's not a lot of emotions involved. I use my brain. I'm cerebral. I'm like, I need this, so make this happen. There's not a lot of emotions involved. But then, especially if I'm talking, I'm trying to create while I'm speaking to another person, right? So if I'm trying to create while I'm speaking to another person, there's not a lot of emotion involved. It's very logical, methodical, and cerebral, right? It's like I'm manipulating the conversation into a way that I create what I want to create. There's no emotions there, and maybe what I want to create is good, and I really care about the thing that I want to create. There's a little bit of emotion behind that part. But if you're gonna compare me to somebody that has to make an effort to make you understand what he's trying to say, I have an advantage because I'm not using my heart chakra. I don't have to use my heart chakra, which also means I'm using less energy than that person. So that person is actually using more energy and using more of his heart, of his or hers heart chakra, because she has to gesticulate. She has to do, like, she has to have mannerism. Like, she can't just stand there with a straight face and tell you things, because you might get confused in what this person is saying. So now I have to physically show you. I have to, I have to do facial expressions. I have to, like, I really have to drive the point home. So when you're doing that, when you're in that criteria, then you're using more of your heart chakra than you're using your mental state, right? Of course you're thinking about what you're saying, but you're also probably repeating yourself, and you're also trying to find ways to make the person understand you better, or you're physically giving yourself some kind of augmentations or some kind of module or component, like a voice box or something along those lines. And when you're not able to communicate, when you have a speech impediment, you're using a lot of your heart chakra. A lot of what you're saying comes from your heart, right? More than your mind, right? I mean, it comes from your mind, but the person actually talking is your heart, right? That doesn't make people with speech impediment a good or a bad person. That's neither here or there. What I'm saying is they have to put more passion in what they're saying than somebody that has no speech impediment, that's used to talking to people since they were born, and talking is not something that they have to worry about. So, because we get that too in society. We have a bunch of people with, you go wait at the bus stop, and somebody starts having a conversation with you about the sky is blue, and the sports center and shit like that. That doesn't mean anything. You're not doing anything, you're not creating anything. You're just saying random shit because you can, and you have a mouth, and you're capable of talking, and you're not thinking about it, and you're just making conversation, right? So there's no passion behind that. There's not a big passion behind it. Maybe the person had good intention when they said it, but what I'm saying is, speaking for somebody that doesn't have a speech impediment is something that this person takes for granted. So did I, right? For a lot of years, and speaking is another sense that you will have to tell yourself is fake, and some people think that speaking is evil, because they learn that what spelling actually is. They learn what words actually are. They understand that words are numbers, and numbers is energy, and energy is magic, and so on and so on. So they're aware that speaking is a bad thing, so they don't even like talking. They don't like talking because it's like they feel like it comes from the devil and shit like that. That's a bit much. It's a bit exaggerated, but eventually, at least they're already in the path, because they're now not ignorant about what words actually are. But now it's not just knowing what words are. Now you have to understand how to make the words work for you, because at the end of the day, we're not in the Matrix. This isn't a movie, right? So you have to have some discernment. You have to understand that in the Matrix, they had to let go of everything, and everything is destroyed. But that's a science fiction movie. It's not necessarily real. I said necessarily. I didn't say it wasn't real. I said necessarily real. So, so it's the same thing in life. We have to forget all the things, but all of these things, there's nothing that's going to come after though. There's not a bunch of robots trying to kill us in real. That's the difference between the movie and reality. There's not a bunch of robots trying to kill us. There's not, none of that shit happens, right? Like none of that shit is real, right? But it's real, but in another sense of the word, right? Like there's people that are, that are the agents, and Illuminati and agents and stuff like that, right? So that, yes, right? But you have to understand, like, now speaking is a component. It's just a program, and you can use that program to your own advantage, right? Language is a program, is a formatting. Language is a formatting program. A formatting program is a program that you use in order to format something, which means in order to make something function. It's a prerequisite for a specific function, right? So now you're using speech. You stop using speech, and then you realize everything that you need to realize, and now you're like, okay, now I'm ready to speak because now I know how to speak. Because it's like, just like in the Matrix, they say all your muscles are atrophied. When we do a versus towards, okay, that scene in the movie where Neo's on the table and they're doing acupuncture on his fucking nervous system because he never used his muscle before, so he has muscle atrophy. So then now there's that other part where so now, okay, how does this translate into real life? Well, you never actually used your mind, right? So you have muscle atrophy too, right? It's not that the movie was lying or the movie just invented the part that's not in reality. No, that shit's in reality too. You have muscle atrophy because you don't know how to use your mind. You think that you were using your mind this whole time, but you really wasn't. You just think you were, right? Just like Neo thought he was using his body this whole time, but he really wasn't, right? So, it's like people that talk, they think they're talking, but they're not really talking. They don't know how to talk, but they don't know that they don't know how to talk. Like they have no idea, right? So, but then again, but then again, you got like, okay, now I know how to talk. But then again, now you're kind of like, okay, now I don't have muscle atrophy. Now I know how to think. Now I know how to talk. And now I realize that talking, thinking, smelling, hearing is actually creating my reality, right? Because you can use your ears to shape your reality. Like, okay, do you believe me when I say that you can use your ear to change your reality? Now you think I'm crazy, right? You think I'm crazy, right? You think I'm crazy when I'm saying that you can use your ear to create reality, right? I'm crazy, right? Well, let me blow your mind for 2 seconds, right? What do you think you're doing when you're listening to affirmation? When you're listening to affirmations? What do you think you're doing when you're listening to affirmations? When you watch TV and the TV show sucks and you're tired of it and you change the channel, what are you doing? You're not manipulating your reality. You say no to that TV show that for XYZ reason you don't like to hear, you don't like to listen to, and then you change it to something you want to listen to. Isn't that taking control of your reality in some shape or form? Because you could keep watching the stupid show, right? Because some people do that. Some people will watch something and it's crap and they're still going to watch it, even though they know it's crap, They're not changing their reality. They are accepting the reality that is in front of them, right? But you can change your reality. You don't have to accept the reality that's in front of you. You can change the reality. Right? All you have to do is switch the channel. Bada bing, bada boom. And at the end of the day, the simple fact that you do that might actually make you live a nice life. The simple fact of switching the channel can change your entire life. Just switching the TV channel can change your entire life, bro. That shit crazy, isn't it? Like let's give you an example of what I mean. Let's say you're a guy. Let's say you're a dude that's really interested in car racing, right? And you have all the sports channel, right? But there's only sports racing in specific channel at specific times, right? And you don't know what those specific times or the specific channels are, right? And let's just say, let's use my theory, right? Just to make it more sense, just to make it make sense. Let's use my theory. So let's say if this guy listens to all the car racing channel thing, he's gonna end up being a race car driver. And let's say if he listens to basketball games, he's gonna end up being a basketball player, right? So, but this guy already knows what he's like. He already know what he like. He likes fucking. What did I say? He like shit. Damn, I don't remember. Okay, let's say he likes boat racing, because I really don't remember what I said at the beginning. So let's say he likes boat racing, right? So he wants to be a boat racer, right? But he don't know at what time the boat racing shows are and on which channel. So he sits there. Okay, so let's separate this two guys. So let's make a separation. Let's create a parallel universe of the same guy, right? So now there's a parallel universe and there's another guy. So one of the guys, he doesn't change the channel, right? He never changed the channel. He goes and sit. They wake up at the same time. Both guys wake up at the same time. They do the same thing. They have the same schedule, right? So they both sit at the same time. But one of them doesn't change the channel, and it's not on a boat racing thing, right? And the other one is just flipping the channel until he finds boat racing thing, right? So let's say that happens in a period of 50 days, right? What's gonna happen to one of them? Well, if we use my theory, one of them is gonna become a car racing guy, and the other one is either going to end up being a boat racing dude, or he's gonna sit there until he becomes a boat racing dude, because that's what he wants to do. The other guy doesn't care though, so he ended up doing something that he didn't want to do. And then he ends up being a car racing guy, and he's like in this car, and he's like, how did I end up here? I don't even like racing cars, bro. Well, it's because you're always watching car racing shit. That's fucking why, bro. The other guy, he's gonna end up being a boat driver too. And it's not the time period that he becomes a boat racer is unimportant. What's important is the person's asphyxiation, right? Not asphyxiation, but asphyxiation, right? Like the thing that he's like, attracted to, right? Because he could have been, the other guy could have been a car racing enthusiast too. He could have been a basketball player, car racing guy, golfer, whatever, right? But he kept changing the damn channel, right? And that's the difference between the other one and him, right? The other guy kept changing the channel. He kept watching, hoping that he'll actually see boat racing, but he never did, because every time he opened the channel, he stays on that channel and he doesn't care. He's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna watch. The other one made the personal decision to be like, no, I'm a boat racing guy and I want to see some fucking boat racing. Like, so he's flipping the fucking channel like there's no fucking tomorrow. Pause, pardon my language. And that's the fucking difference, right? So, can you change your reality using your ears? Absolutely. Absolutely, because when you're watching TV, you're not just watching. You're listening, right? Those words are going into your mind. And it's like I said when I was talking about in my last video, the first things first, when I was talking about Alan Moore, where he likes to put images in people's minds, and they then create the universe that he was thinking of. And the worst part is that might sound manipulative to some people, but you gotta understand, like, some people have a lot of imagination. So he might give a description, but let's say we posted up two different people's version of the same text. There might be some differences. There's gonna be some differences. The person that has more imagination is gonna add more things to it, things that are probably not there, or things that are there, but he's gonna make a little twist to it to make it more interesting, to make it more zesty. Pause. You know what I mean? Add a little bit more zest to it, you know? A little bit of lemon lime splice, you know what I mean? So anyways, you know, so when you're hearing, you're creating reality. You can use your ears to create reality on purpose, which is a thing that a lot of people do. A lot of people use affirmations. Well, that's creating reality, right? So you can use your ear. You can use your eyes, because looking at the things that you want to look at is also a way to shape your reality, right? You know, speaking of things that you want to have is a way to shape reality. Now, the thing is, ladies and gentlemen, the point I'm trying to get at here also is there's some good people that exist in the world, and at the end of the day, you got to be able to be a little bit manipulative, especially when you're a magician, right? A lot of people don't like that word manipulation and manipulative and all that, right? And that's their issue. But at the end of the day, you can't just be a goody two shoes 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365. You're going to get rolled over, right? So, but nevertheless, the point I'm trying to make here is that you probably want to save the world, right? You're a good person. You want to save the world. But what if I told you you could save the world, right? And what I want you to do, the experiment of the day is I want you to go find someone to talk to. Not anybody. I want you to be real specific and real peculiar with the person that I don't want you to go speak with somebody that's confrontational. But I also don't want you to go talk to somebody that's soft or, dare I say, shy, you know. I want you to go talk to a person that has a head on their shoulders. That's a specific. You have to speak with somebody that has a head on their shoulder. And I want you to talk about reality with this person. And I want you to talk about reality like you never talked about reality before in your entire life. I want you to be passionate. I want you to be truthful and passionate when you speak to that person. And you will enact change. You will enact change. Because the other thing that's messed up about life is that the observer is as powerful as the one being observed. You know, because at the end of the day, it's like, you know, we're impressed. Like, let's say I watch pro wrestling, right? And I'm super impressed by the pro wrestlers, and they're the ones doing all the moves and blah blah blah. But you have power too, as the observer of the wrestling, and no, you're actually not doing the same thing as the wrestler. The wrestler is communicating in a specific kind of way, and you are also communicating in your different kind of way, right? So what I'm doing is I'm giving my energy to the wrestler. The wrestler is giving me his energy too, you know, because he's trying to put on the best show of his life. So he's out here putting, you know, he's doing the shit. He's communicating. He's vibrating, right? He's vibrating. He's wrestling like he never wrestled before in his life, right? But you that are also enjoying this energy that this wrestler is sending towards you, you are also helping him. You are giving him something in return, which is your energy, your time and energy, right? So the observer is as powerful as the one doing, as the one being observed, right? So this is the reason why I say I want you to go talk to somebody that has a level head, a person that had a head on his shoulder. And because I don't want you to underestimate what you're doing, and I don't need you to think that you're better than this person. That's not the point. The point is that you need that person to agree with you sincerely and honestly with what you're saying in order to create, in order to enact change in the world, right? So philosophers philosophers are very powerful witches. Philosophers are very powerful mages. They're alchemists, right? And that's what a philosopher does. Philosophers invite one of their friends for tea or coffee and they start talking about shit for a very long fucking time, right? And they're alchemicizing the universe when they do that. They're alchemicizing the universe when they do that. These are very important things, and you need to, and you can't do this with just anybody. You can't do this with somebody that's confrontational, because even though somebody that's confrontational might be smart, they might, out of their ego, they might reject, because there's like a breaking point, right? Because the person that you're going to talk to might not agree with everything that you're saying, and he might actually give you some counter things, and that's your job. Your job is to counter the counter, right? In order for the spell to work, in order for the spelling to be accurate, you got to be smart enough to counter the counter, right? Like, you want the person to agree with this new change, with this idea, with this life that you're aiming for, right? So, and you're thinking about everyone in the world, right? So you don't want to go too far, and you don't want to not say enough either, right? And you don't want to brush this person off, but you also don't want to be boring. So you got to be a little bit passionate, right? And you got to be a little bit charming, and you got to be able to take a joke and also know when to lean back and then lean forward, right? So, like I said, you got to be smart a little bit to do that. But there are some smart people, I'm sure, that listens to my YouTube. At least I hope so. I hope you're smart. I know a couple. I assume some of you guys are smart out here. Especially like the my loyal few guys that comment on my channel. I assume you guys are smart. I don't underestimate y'all. Even though you guys might not be very interested in this technique, but that doesn't matter. That's neither here or there. It's for the general masses, because the general masses, they go to work, they meet people, they go to parties, so they have opportunities to meet people and change things, right? And that's a personal choice. You don't have to do that. It's a personal choice. If you're really, because there's some people that are sensitive out there. There's some people that are sensitive and they really would love to, make a change in the world and to save the world and blah, blah, blah. Well, this is your first step, right, into doing that. If you're one of those sensitive people that do care about other people, that do care about the world, this is your first step into doing this, right? Begin a conversation with a friend, not a foe. Begin a conversation with a friend, not a foe, and see the majestic change unravel before your eyes once the task is completed. You will feel rejuvenated. You will see the birds are gonna flap their wings. The people will smile, and so on and so on, right? And it's a first step, and this is part of learning how to speak. This is how powerful speaking is. Technically speaking, what I just told you right now, let's say we lived in like League of Legends, right? Like, let's say we were in Warhammer 40K, League of Legends, Lord of the Rings. I would have been arrested and tortured to death for saying what I just said. I mean full-blown French Revolution torture. I mean, like fucking horses pulling my arms and legs apart because of what the fuck I just said, bro. Because this is how powerful you truly are, and that's how much the powers at be is actually hiding from you, right? Like, you're not aware that it's that easy to change things. You don't know that. Nobody knows that. Nobody's aware unless you're a person that had an experience like that before, you don't know this shit. How could you? There's no way to find this out. There's no way to know this. How can you know that? Nobody knows this. Where you gonna find this information from? You're not gonna find information like this anywhere, like so. So they would tear me apart, literally. I would have gotten my legs and arms ripped off by horses, bro, for telling you this shit, man. Because it's that powerful. Because it's that powerful. It is actually that powerful. It's that easy. It's that easy and that powerful. And, at the end of the day, there's some people that do it, but they do it out of spite. They do it out of spite. They're like, fuck the world. Chaos rules. Yada, yada, yada. Blah, 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 whatever. You know what I mean? Some people do it, but they do it for the wrong reason. It seems to me that the bad guys always end up knowing no more than the good guys. Now, for real. Well, at least, of course, it's because of the Illuminati. But, but still, though, it's like, because the bad guys are doing it, right? But the good guys aren't. Like, the good guys don't even know that you can do shit like that, right? But the bad guys are walking around doing shit like that every fucking day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like they take that shit for granted. Like, and the worst part is, you want to know something? Like, let's say a bad guy is using his voice, crystalline energy and shit to manipulate people, and then he ends up walking somewhere and it don't work. He's going to find that weird. We're not going to find it weird. We're going to think that's normal. To him, that shit not working would be abnormal. He'd be like, oh, something's wrong. Something's fucked up. Magic's not working. And then the regular masses, we walk around and sometimes shit like that happens and we're happy about it, but we don't tell ourselves that that's how life works. But the bad guy knows that that's how life works because he's the bad guy. If he didn't know that that's how life works, he wouldn't be the bad guy. I mean, that's his whole point. The whole point of being a bad guy in a situation like this is to know everything before everybody else does. That's what the Illuminati is. It's a group of people that know everything before everybody else knows it, right? And if they don't know it, and if there's new information that comes along, they're gonna act like they're the ones that put the information out. You know what I mean? Like they maintain control of the information, bro, because that's the biggest power known to man, information, right? So anyways, that's what I want you guys to do. That's your homework. Your homework is, I want you to go out there, get one of your very intelligent friends, very level-headed and intelligent friends, and have a conversation about life with him, and wait for that moment, because it becomes a moment at some point when both of you will come into this magical agreement, right? Let's put it that way, for lack of better terms. When both of you guys come into this magical agreement, this majestic agreement, and life spontaneously, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it. You're gonna know it, right? And it's a beautiful thing, and it changes the world, and it helps the world when you do that, right? And that's why you shouldn't underestimate the power of crystalline energy, the power of your crystalline throat chakra point. That's how powerful it is. That's what it's for. It's to create reality. It's a tool to create reality. So I'm gonna stop it right there, and I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Have a good one. Peace out.